Happy 4th of July, sci-fi buzzers. We've got some sparklers for you. We'll forage through the classic special effects props in Bob Burns' house. Young Indy drops by in the form of Sean Patrick Flannery. The fascinating people at an Anne Rice book signing. And a company that makes big bucks taking sci-fi and horror straight to video.
Demonic Toys. Now on video cassette from Full Moon Entertainment.
Puppet Master 1, 2, and 3. We've got Trancers 1, 2, and 3. Do you ever wonder where these movies come from? I mean, you never see them in the theaters, but they're always in video stores. Well, a company by the name of Full Moon Entertainment has made good money with their line of campy sci-fi and horror films that go direct to home video.
We all know that when things get a little crazy, someone always remarks, "There must be a full moon tonight."
Who are you people? How did you get in my living room anyway?
Well, Tim Thomerson, star of Trancers 1, 2, and 3, and Doll Man, these people are the various freaks and nasties who populate the world of Full Moon. They're getting into living rooms all over America as a result of some very shrewd marketing by cult filmmaker Charles Band.
Demonic Toys. Now on video cassette from Full Moon Entertainment. Dr. Mordred stars Jeffrey Combs, Brian Thompson, and Tyrannosaurus Rex. Demand it at your video store.
Full Moon Entertainment is fast becoming the J.C. Penney of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. It's a one-stop shop.
Hi, Full Moon fans. I'm Charlie Spradling, and I'm here on the set of Trancers 3 to tell you about our hottest new collector's items.
Full Moon releases about 10 movies a year, most direct-to-home video. With every Full Moon film you rent, you get an episode of Video Zone, a shameless promotion vehicle for, you guessed it, Full Moon. Movies and soundtracks and bubblegum cards.
Welcome to the next edition of Full Moon's Video Zone.
The boyish Charles Band even hosts his video medicine show from behind a big grown-up desk, a la Walt Disney. His direct approach to the fans seems to be working. Distributors are ordering an average of 32,000 copies of each title, about 5 times the market average for similar low-budget video originals.
Jack, if we don't make it...
You'll see me again, Alice. You're the best thing that's happened to me in 2 centuries.
So what do you get for your $2 rental? Well, Full Moon embraces the term B-movie, the kind that used to play at the drive-in on a double feature. The stories and special effects vary in quality, but some, like Trancers 3 and Dr. Mordred, are a notch above the average home video.
This little man, there's one scene in the movie where the Tyrannosaurus here in the background picks him up. And the tie only, well, it's just a little piece of strip lead, you know, so that it can be animated, be waving around.
David Allen, a stop-motion animator whose career goes back to Gumby in the 1960s, is a regular contributor to the films. K&B, the makeup group whose work you've seen in People Under the Stairs, Dr. Giggles, and other bigger studio releases, regularly pitch in at Full Moon.
I'm basically applying a ripped open throat to the victim.
Many of the actors in the Full Moon movies are part of a stock company. Tim Thomerson has starred in several features. More recognizable names like TV's Thelma Hopkins and Dirty Harry's Andrew Robinson add marquee value to the tapes. In Trancers 3, Robinson gets to play another over-the-top baddie, Colonel Daddy Mother.
It's a combat name. I was mother and father to those boys in the field.
So that's the secret of those tapes you come across at every video store that look like things you should have seen in the theater but didn't. It's just Full Moon, cutting out the theater chain middleman and bringing you as much camp, sci-fi, and horror as you could possibly ever need.
My name is Jason McKay. I'm from San Diego, California, and I recently read Dangerous Journey: The Numerous Murders by Gary Gygax, which is a Sherlock Holmes-type murder mystery set in Egypt. I enjoyed the culture's detail as the characters overcome their religious dilemma.
The strange happenings at an Anne Rice book signing and our Buzz Best Bets after this disconnect. What a perfect perfect night for an Anne Rice book signing. At least that's what several thousand fans felt when they lined up and lined up and lined up to meet the famous Queen of the Vampires.
I knew that it was going to be packed. So I don't feel so bad, knowing there's, those people behind me.
Near the end of the line are Mara and Antonio. He likes it when she reads to him.
She's read some very sexy chapters to me, and I've enjoyed them very much. Yeah.
What is it? He whispered. He opened his arms, and at once she pressed herself gently against him. Her breasts were large and soft against his chest.
We'll check in on Mara and Antonio later. At the front of the line is Lori. She's been here for hours.
I called in sick. I was supposed to be there at 6:30 in the morning.
And inside, inappropriate Vampire Black, a true superstar of supernatural fiction braces for her public by reflecting on her good fortune.
Well, it's an author's dream. I don't know whether I can say I'm surprised. It was my greatest dream. I'm really enjoying it. It's wonderful. I certainly am very emotionally into it when I'm writing it. So the fact that some of that is conveyed to the readers is a wonderful thing.
Anne's current bestseller is The Tale of the Body Thief. To understand its lead character, the vampire Lestat, let's go back outside to the front of the line.
On a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 25. He's one of the sexiest characters I've ever read. He's a personification of all that I think women want or desire. I think that's what she put into her books, into that character.
Or, as they say in the back of the line,
He hugged her close, enfolding her, and ran his gloved fingers up through her hair.
we scoured the line for Lestat, figuring he might show up to meet his fans. But our producer, Dave Garrison, did find at least one dyed-in-the-wool vampire.
Are you Forever Knight? Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you.
Garant Wynne Davies, who plays vampire detective Nick Knight on CBS's Forever Knight, is a big Anne Rice fan. He knows better than anyone the appeal of Anne Rice's characters.
Well, I find that the idea of immortality and the idea of it's a very sensual, sexual thing, being a vampire. I think it's the old tying into the old leather jacket on motorbikes thing, and it would just add some teeth and some sort of funky sexual stuff in a way, in a fantastical sort of situation. Makes it very, very intriguing and very attractive and very sort of 2 feet on the carpet. It takes it above a little more. Makes it a flying carpet. That's right.
But the final authority on the appeal of Anne Rice is the author herself.
We've been asking everybody about what the attraction is to your books. What do you think the attraction is?
Intensity.
Well written, first
romance, sensuality, eroticism, mystery.
Well, the mystery.
I don't know. Emotion. I mean, if you want a bottom line, it's emotion.
There was certainly emotion at the back of the line.
He could feel her heart beating, her breath catching. He himself was shaking. The protective feeling aroused in him was hot, alchemizing quickly into passion.
It's very touching, huh?
And a different sort of emotion at the front of the line.
I'm a happy camper.
Okay, as you can see, if you look closely at my tie, friends, this is the Tasmanian Devil. This is a microphone. Ignore it. But the Tasmanian Devil is on my tie because I'm going to rant and rave and scream. I seldom do that, as you know. I'm a person of quiet demeanor, but I feel it is time to talk about the impending implosion in the science fiction market. Now, a few years back, when there was a huge horror genre, and there were 256,414 horror novels being published every month, all of which were sort of sickly clones of Stephen King's books or Dean Koontz's books, I predicted in my column, Harlan Ellison's Watching, after which these commentaries are named, in the magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, I indicated that there was going to be a terrific implosion, that the field could not support all of that bad writing and all of those writers writing vampire stuff. I mean, I got to be very candid with you. Vampires bore the tuchus off me. I don't understand. I mean, once you suck the neck, what is there left to tell the story about? In any case, some people like reading about vampires. Let them go. They also like chafed thighs. This is not my problem. I said the field was going to implode and that a lot of people were going to find themselves in the water as the boat sank. That only those few writers who were really and truly good writers would be able to survive, would be able to float, would be able to swim away, and most of the others would have to, if they wanted to survive, start converting over to psychological novels, novels of terror, mysteries, or combinations thereof. Well, I was roundly pilloried. One agent, a very nice young woman, but a little self-serving, said, What do you mean by that? I just sold a book for $1,500 to Zebra Paperbacks. Folks, my first novel back in 1955, 56, I got $1,500. So that was no big deal in 1992 or whatever year it was. And as you can see now, there's almost no horror line left. When you go into one of the big bookstores, there are a lot of books that look like it. They're being converted over. The only real line that's left is Abyss Books, which is published by Dell. Well, the same thing is about to happen in science fiction. Yes, it's finally come to pass. Sodom and Gomorrah are about to fall. A lot of people who have been writing, how shall I put it delicately, caca, are about to find themselves in the water with no boat. Even people like Piers Anthony and Jack Chalker, who have made a fortune with these endless trilogies and tetralogies and series after series after series, even they are not getting the kind of money that they got just a few years ago. Everybody is scampering and scrabbling for a new birth. And what's happening is a major weeding out process. Yes, I am ranting. Yes, I am raving. Yes, I am the Tasmanian devil telling you that all of this crap writing that has butchered our field and has made it the lowest possible level of reading in the last 5-10 years is about to be weeded out. A great many people are going to find themselves unemployed. But this is good for humanity, because now perhaps they will go take up electrical wiring, they'll get a job as a plumber, and as I have said many, many times, when your toilet overflows, you don't need Dostoevsky coming to your house. Mark my words.
Young indie actor Sean Patrick Flannery when the Buzz reconnects. When Sean Patrick Flannery was growing up, the Indiana Jones movies were the movies to see. And like a lot of kids his age, Flannery spent much of his youth pretending he was Indy. But never in a million years did Sean even imagine that one day he would star as young Indy for none other than George Lucas.
The guy's got, you know, a 360-degree imagination, where I think, you know, the population has 90. You know, I mean, he just sees so many different angles of so many things. I mean, he's such a creative guy that, I mean, it's hard for me to even elaborate on his thought process because it's beyond me, you know.
Action!
A former autocross racer and triathlete, Flannery has always enjoyed living on the edge. This job allows Sean to fulfill most of his adrenaline junkie fantasies and then some.
I get to do all my own stunts. I mean, I've jumped off buildings. I've been in burning, exploding buildings. I've been blown up. I mean, I've done air ram jumps. I've hung on to a ninth floor balcony, you know, by my fingertips. You know, the little bitty cable the size of, you know, this little cord holding you up, and they're like, oh, it holds 8,000 pounds. You're like, oh, okay, fine, I trust you, you know. You're holding by your fingertips, and like, if you fall, it'll catch you. In 5 feet, it'll jerk you to a stop. You're like, I'm looking forward to that, you know. It's strapped where? In between my legs? Great.
Sean made it through that stunt in one piece, but he did have one frightening close call on horseback.
I was riding Hurricane, which is Harrison's horse in all the movies, and there was a tracking vehicle in front of the horse. So the camera's on the back of the tracking vehicle, pointing right at my face, and I'm riding this horse, and I'm reaching out with my hand, and there was a bump in the dirt road, so the tracking vehicle hit the brakes. Well, my hoof clipped the back bumper, and Hurricane was a star. You know, he was in all the Rambo films, all the Indiana Jones films. This horse is, you know, the Jack Nicholson of ponies, you know. And he flips over, head over heels. I mean, I jumped, I'd like leapfrogged his head, landed on my feet, but the horse was on his back, just going, you know, his eyes are the size of tennis balls. My heart was just going crazy. I thought, oh, you know. And then he got right back up and walked away.
What could be more fun than doing your own stunts? How about a little on-set pyrotechnics?
All the explosions are real. I mean, every time you see, you know, a tank being blown up, I mean, we really blew up a tank. I mean, we've even been in the desert and we've had extra explosives. We've blown things up, you know? I mean,
just because.
Just because. That rock is hating life and it wants to be smaller. You know, boom, it's dust.
Let's get out of here!
Sean's role in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles is nothing short of, well, a blast. It has enabled him to travel all over the world. He's met some of history's most dynamic figures and some of the film industry's most talented players. And he's done some exhilarating stunt work. You might wonder how Flannery's real life could possibly measure up to all of this. It's actually a moot point. Since the actor's schedule is so non-stop, he doesn't really have a life. Let's just hope he's keeping a journal.
I'm spinning so fast from show to show, episode to episode, you know, a new director, you know, a new cast, a new country, a new city. Everything is brand new every 3 weeks. You know, I've been picked up from one planet and stuck on another one. And it's not to say that either planet is better, it's just a different planet.
This is Dean Sitton of San Francisco, California, and if you own a Sega Genesis and wouldn't mind playing the role of a mystic alchemist who travels through time to defeat supernatural evil, check out Shakan the Forever Man. 24 levels, and it's probably the ugliest good guy you'll ever see.
We've got an exciting Buzz Best Bet for comic book buffs. Two of the hottest independent comic book companies, Image and Valiant, have teamed up on a new mega project called Deathmate.
I think what we're trying to do is make comic books more like rock and roll. I mean, I think that the thing about we go to these shows and these kids, they show up in droves, and we love it, and we'll stay till all hours to facilitate them and to have a good time. And I think we're trying to raise awareness of comic books.
And to kick things off, the creative forces behind Deathmate have hit the road and could well be rocking and rolling to a town near you.
The big shows are in L.A., New York, whatever, Chicago. But these bus tours are going through, I don't want to disparage any cities, but it's going through a lot of smaller cities in between, you know, like New York and Baltimore, and places and stores. You know, this is really a grassroots kind of movement.
The bus tour, featuring some of the artists, is currently making its way across the country. It will wind down at San Diego's massive Comic-Con in late August. Look for a feature on Deathmate and its artists on an upcoming Sci-Fi Buzz. But for now, here's where you can catch the Deathmate bus tour. Burns and his house of special effects next. You know, it's only been over the last few years that science fiction and horror movie props have been considered art. As a result, a lot of the props over the years were thrown away into the trash. Well, thank goodness for a guy by the name of Bob Burns. He is a Hollywood special effects veteran, and a visit to his house can be a lot of fun. Living in Southern California, just a stone's throw away from celluloid heaven, namely Hollywood, has enabled Bob Burns to prevent dozens of cherished props from vanishing forever.
Now, Bob, how did this get started?
Well, I was a very sick lad when I was a child. I envisioned a lot of things in my head, and all of a sudden I woke up one day and they're all sitting here looking at me. This stuff to me is so important. I think it's extremely important to have because it's artifacts. It's you know, it's a thing that people should be able to see.
Well, they are works of art.
Yeah.
And you just didn't want to see them thrown away.
Absolutely not.
Did you see that happening? Actually, people, when they were through with things,
yes.
throwing them in the trash? And...
I mean, I've missed quite a bit that way. Okay, so if you had a call last week.
What was the first prop you ever took into your possession?
First prop was the cane head from the original Wolfman in 1941. I got it in 1945.
Lon Chaney was beaten to death with this thing,
He
right?
was, yeah. Chaney was beaten to death by that. Claude Rains beat him and hit him and hurt him.
Do you have a favorite in here?
Well, one has to be the Time Machine.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And the other, there's so many great things. The other's probably King Kong. And here he is, as a matter of fact. He's a little thinner than you saw him last.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but
that's King Kong?
That's King Kong, yeah.
After Jenny Craig.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he went overboard a little. And but no, this is, he's stripped of all of the fur and the rubber and everything that was on him. This is the oldest thing I have, as a matter of fact, too, as well as everything else.
Okay.
And one of my absolute favorites, too.
Let's take a look at the Time Machine.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Bob's Time Machine is the very one used in the 1960 Rod Taylor movie. And imagine my surprise when he says he's got the thing working. Good as new.
Would you like to take a trip in here?
You're not serious.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not responsible for what happens, but I'm serious, yeah. Now, first of all, you get this little arm up like this.
Wow.
Step on this. You can hold onto this and the back of the chair. Now, Rod Taylor doesn't have to do it this way. He just steps right in and steps over it. I don't know how he still
so what
does
is that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing at all. I just thought I'd tell you just in case...
Well, I'm moving this stupid little stool then and getting in like this, like Rod does. Well, no, how do I get in there?
See, that's what I mean. That's not like Rod does at all, you know.
Maybe if I just see him running at it like Batman.
It's pretty silly. You look pretty silly.
I don't want to break anything. You know, if I would snap something, I could end up in about, 1932 or something.
I would suppose. Now, let me put this other arm down here. Now you're on your own.
Here we go.
The man doesn't age. He doesn't do anything. He just stays the same.
I'm like Dick Clark. I don't age. But I feel like I may need diapers. Oh, my God. It's the 50s. Boy, this guy needs some flossing or something.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it for him.
No, wait. Now, who is this?
This is the werewolf from American Werewolf in London. This is the final stage. This is where he's running around, he's chewing on people and doing things. Rick Baker made this. This is his creation. And he gave it to me very graciously, which I really appreciate, for the museum here.
Now, do you enjoy having this in your basement?
Why, of course. Wouldn't you? Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Actually, Bob, I did.
Oh, good.
Even though you are very strange.
And you're not.
Before I take off here, I want to remind you that we'll be here all summer long on Sci-Fi Buzz. Jonah, hold that for me. Thank you. Now, the Sci-Fi Channel may bump us every now and then for one of their special presentations. And it better be pretty darn special to bump us. We'll have our features, of course, and our tips on science fiction, fantasy, and horror, so watch for us all summer long during the hot months. A quick reminder before we go, I am your only host on the Sci-Fi Channel who was actually born on planet Earth. Our show is worth watching. See you next time.
It's more action-packed excitement with the amazing Spider-Man. The Mighty Marvel Marathon, hosted by Stan Lee, continues tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. Now stay tuned for Mysteries from Beyond the Other Dominion. Next.